If you own a home in Willow Glen and you're thinking about selling, this one's for you, because what works in Sunnyvale, what works in Berryessa, and what works in almost any other part of San Jose does not necessarily work here. Willow Glen is its own thing. The buyers are different, the expectations are different, and honestly, the stakes are higher. If you go in without understanding those dynamics, you can leave real money on the table. So let me walk you through today what's actually happening in the market right now. The first thing you need to understand is who's buying. Now, the primary buyer here in Willow Glen right now is a dual income household. They're usually tech, usually somewhere in the $300,000 to $500,000 combined income range. And they're likely either moving up from somewhere else in San Jose, or they're coming over from Palo Alto or Mountain View, where they've been renting and they just can't get what they want at the price they want. And here's the thing that matters most about this buyer. They're not only shopping on square footage, they're shopping on the feel of the home and the neighborhood. They want that walkability, they want that neighborhood energy, and they want to walk to a coffee shop on a Saturday morning without getting in a car. Now, that decision-making shapes everything about how you should be positioning your home. Now, that type of buyer shapes everything about how you should be positioning your home. So the sweet spot right now in Willow Glen is where you're going to see the most competition, the most activity, the most multiple offer situations is in that 1.8 million to 2.4 million range. That's where the buyer pool is the deepest and the most active. If you go above that $2.5 million range, things start to shift. The pool thins out a bit, buyers become more deliberate, negotiations slow down a bit, and you have less room for pricing error. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get a great result above that number. You absolutely can, but the strategy has to be sharper and the preparation has to match. Here's something I see sellers get wrong over and over. They think the goal is to price at what they believe the home is worth and let the buyers respond. And I get why. Psychologically, that makes sense. It's your home, you know what it's worth, you're not going to give it away. But in this market, in this neighborhood, that approach often backfires. What I've seen work consistently is pricing just under where you think the ceiling is, generating real competition in that first week and letting buyers drive the number up. I've seen homes in Willow Glen listed at 1.89 and they sell at 2.05 or better. And I've also seen homes listed at 2.15 sit for 3-4 weeks, drop to 1.99, and at that point the leverage is completely gone. Buyers see the price cut and they start asking questions. What's wrong with the home? Why didn't anyone want it? And those questions ultimately cost you, even if the honest answer is nothing is wrong with the home. Here's a recent sale in Willow Glen over on Camino Pablo. Look, a great house on a great street, but they frankly just overpriced it by a lot. They started a series of price reductions until it finally got an offer, which took 132 days. Ouch. Ultimately, it sold for $250,000 less than where they started. So look, the goal isn't to underprice your home. The goal is to trigger demand, and there's a huge difference. And understanding that difference is honestly one of the most important things I can help a seller think through before we ever put a sign in the yard. Now, let me talk about the Lincoln Avenue Premium, because this is real and it is significant. Now, proximity to downtown Willow Glen, the ability to walk to Lincoln Avenue, to the restaurants, to the coffee shops, to that Saturday farmers market energy. That is worth money, and I'm talking $100,000 to $300,000 depending on the home and the exact location. And buyers are paying it willingly. But here's the nuance that a lot of people miss. It's not just about being close. If your home is on a high traffic street, if the noise or the parking situation takes away from the experience of being walkable, that can actually work against you. It's not just proximity to Lincoln, it's the quality of the lifestyle your location delivers. And that's a distinction that no algorithm like Zillow is going to pick up. It really takes knowing these streets, knowing how buyers react when they pull up, knowing which blocks feel peaceful and which don't. And that's hyperlocal knowledge. That's what you're paying for when you work with someone who's been here for 2 decades. So my name is Kip and I've been a licensed broker for over 20 years here in Silicon Valley. And besides being a top producer, I've sat on the ethics committee here, for over a decade, and I've also managed an office for the #1 brokerage in the country, overseeing billions of dollars in sales. And what I love more than anything is helping buyers and sellers here in Silicon Valley. Okay, so let's talk about what buyers in Willow Glen actually expect when they walk up to your front door. This neighborhood has a standard, and it doesn't make exceptions. Willow Glen has character. We have tree-lined streets, craftsman bungalows, traditional architecture, a real sense of the place. Buyers come here specifically for that. They chose this neighborhood on purpose, and if your home doesn't match that energy from the outside, you've already lost some of them before they ever step inside. Now, I'm not saying you need to spend a fortune on landscaping. I'm saying curb appeal here isn't a bonus, it's the entry fee. Clean, welcoming, and cared for, that's the baseline. Inside, the thing that kills deals in Willow Glen faster than almost anything else is feeling dated. And dated doesn't mean old, it means the home feels like nobody thought about it for 20 or 30 years. A kitchen that still has tile countertops from 2003 and fluorescent lighting. A primary bath that feels purely Unitarian. These things sit in a buyer's head and they start mentally discounting. Sometimes consciously, sometimes not. They just feel it and it affects what they're willing to pay. Now on the flip side, and this one surprises some sellers, homes that have been over-renovated in a way that strips out the original character can also underperform in Willow Glen. Buyers in this neighborhood aren't looking for a generic flip that they can get anywhere. They're paying for soul. If you gut a craftsman bungalow and make it look like new construction in Milpitas, you've taken something away that you can't get back. So if you're doing updates, they should feel like they belong here. Now, when I work with sellers getting ready to list in Willow Glen, the conversation I always want to have early is, what do we actually need to do here? And what would be a waste of money? Because not every seller needs to spend $80,000 to $100,000 getting it ready. Sometimes the right answer is paint, staging, and 2 or 3 targeted updates. Sometimes it's more, but the answer depends on the specific home, the specific price range, and who we're trying to attract. And it's worth getting that right before you spend $1. And timing matters more than most sellers realize. Days on market in Willow Glen right now are running roughly 12 to 17 days for homes that are priced and prepared correctly. If your home goes past 3 weeks without serious interest, the market starts to read that as a signal. Buyers wonder. They start asking why it hasn't sold yet. And even if the honest answer is nothing is wrong with the home, nothing at all, that perception becomes a real obstacle you have to manage through price cuts or concessions. So here's the bottom line on all of this. Willow Glen rewards preparation, it rewards honest pricing strategy, and it rewards understanding who you're actually selling to. When all of that lines up, and I've seen it happen dozens of times in these neighborhoods, you don't just sell, you create a situation where buyers are competing for your home. That's when the sellers win. That's the outcome everyone wants, and it's genuinely achievable when the strategy is right. So if you're thinking about selling in the next few months, I put together a free seller guide that goes deeper on a lot of what we covered today. What to fix, what to skip, and how to think about timing and pricing strategy for this specific market. The link is in the description. And if you want to talk through your specific situation, just reach out. A 10-minute conversation costs you nothing, and you'll walk away knowing exactly where you stand. Seriously, no pitch, no pressure, just a real conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey guys, for more content similar to this, smash that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.